They had several categories of awards for that car show, and they had one called the Exotic. It was the only one that just fit in. Its competitor was a Lamborghini, and we actually won that.
Did you? Oh, that's cool.
The guy in the Lamborghini wasn't very happy.
Oh, I bet he wasn't, but hey. This is DeLorean.
Yeah.
What's up, everyone? I'm Dwayne, and I'm a dude with an Autotude. And today I'm here with my friends Bob and Mary, showing off their iconic sports car from the early 1980s. But without further ado, let's get into it. Can you tell me about your DeLorean?
Yes, this car has been in our family for over 30 years. My brother-in-law bought it and parked it. He had a farm out north of Wichita. He bought it and he bought 18 other cars and parked. He had cars everywhere around Sedgwick County. He passed away and we were given the responsibility of finding these old cars and getting rid of them. This one was actually inside a garage, an old farmhouse. The garage had deteriorated with time and the roof had caved in. So when we found this car, we could barely get in the garage, because he was not only a car collector, but he collected many things.
Right.
We could barely get into the garage and we could barely see the car because the roof had caved in, there were boxes laying all over, there was debris on top of the car. But when we finally got to it, it was kind of sad because varmints had made their way with it, had chewed the brake lines and everything up, and we literally had to hook the car up to a tractor and pull it out of the garage. The brakes are locked up and winch it onto a trailer. So we took over ownership of the car. We bought it out of the estate, and it took about a year and a half to get everything exterior-wise replaced. Brake lines. For some reason, he had the intake manifold off. There were rats living inside the engine. So it took us quite a while to get everything to where it would run again. The beautiful thing about the car is it is indeed airtight. When we opened the car up, it literally smelled like it was brand new.
Really? The interior and everything?
The interior did. As bad as the exterior looked, the interior was very much preserved over time. We started working on it, and one of the things that I did a bunch of research with DeLorean and got on their website. I joined the owners group. I could ask questions, which was just a godsend. But one of the things that we needed to do was to basically regrain the car, because for the past 20 years it had been sitting in that garage. It had corroded, there were scratches on it, there were some pretty serious nicks. In fact, it's kind of sad, I guess maybe good. We go to a car show today, I'll sit out there and look at the car and I'll see something I missed.
Oh yeah.
And so I probably have close to 60 hours in of just sanding the car. I started out with 1000 grit and had to follow the grain. It wasn't something where you could just, you know, like sanding a
kind of
wood.
make it look natural.
We had to, and not be too aggressive. And so I started out with the 1000 grit, and then DeLorean sells a Scotch-Brite, followed with it, and then just lots of polish, just continually hand rubbing the car out. I think we're probably 95% there on the exterior. I get out in the sunlight, the sun hits it just right, I see an area that I need to work on. But that's kind of the history so far, and we enjoy it. We don't drive it a lot. I think we put maybe 1,000 miles on it over the last 8 years or so. We just don't drive it much. We'll go to dinner. We like to go to a few car shows, and it's just fun. It's fun to show the car, but it's fun to look at the expressions on the people that come up. Because first question, where's the flux capacitor? Well, it's right there.
It's right there. I do notice you have one in there.
And you know, second, how's it feel to travel in time? And you know, it's the same quirky questions every show, but we get a kick out of it because people truly are drawn to this more than any of the other cars that we've had. We've had some pretty cool old cars, but pretty special.
Yeah, the license plate says 88 mph.
So 88 miles per hour.
So we had a kind of a family contest on what we were going to put on the license plate, and we had all these different suggestions. But 88 mph was available.
Really? I guess there's not a lot of people that have DeLoreans to be able to claim that.
We had Time Traveler and Time Machine and
Out of Time.
Out of Time. So we had quite a few different options that the family came up with.
Oh, that's great.
But 88 mph was available, so that's what we took.
Well, I know the 1.21 gigawatts is something that was, that'd probably be too hard to fit on a tag, but did you guys think about that one as well?
We did. We looked at a bunch of them, and it's kind of funny. We built the flux capacitor, I think it was during COVID. maybe a little bit before that. And then we also built Mr. Fusion, the reactor fit on the back with the
Oh,
bellows
yeah,
and
yeah,
the
with
smoke. And we put it on, and it just looked too cheesy. So we took it off and thought, well, we'll hang with the flux capacitor and we'll let Mr. Fusion sit on the shelf.
Yeah,
So,
there you go. Well, it's something like this that resonates with my childhood. That was a movie that was really big.
yeah,
That trilogy, and the company lasted till '82, I believe it was.
pretty much.
But
yeah.
this was something that you didn't see. It's like, what
Yeah.
is that? You know, you see that in a movie, and it's like, they didn't make cars like this.
No, no.
I think they had doors like this on some of the extravagant Ferraris and stuff back then, but something you just didn't see.
Fun
Stainless.
when we go to the car shows,
Mhm.
it's actually fun to listen to the little kids now that know what
Oh, so
Back to the Future is.
so their parents
Yeah.
have
So their
shared
parents
that.
have watched the show with them.
Yeah.
And the little kids are also know exactly what it is.
Yeah. Did you have to find any parts or replace any of the parts for dings or anything like that, or was it just the grain that you had to rework?
Well, there have been several things that we've had to replace. The motors in the windows.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not much window there.
Right.
But both of those motors we had to obtain, and those came out of Europe, Delorean Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Air conditioner, there's a real good Delorean dealership or parts source down in Houston.
Uh-huh.
And we were able to get the compressor out of there. Lots of the little odds and ends that we've needed to get the car back to operable came out of Houston. But the things that are hard to find, when DeLorean went under, I think that there was two companies kind of buy up all the existing cars and parts. There were just under 9,000 DeLoreans made,
Not many.
and 6,700 of those were made in 81. So there was
Wow.
a sprinkle in 82, and there was actually a sprinkle in 83.
Where they just
So-
finished off, try to get rid of them.
And so they sold all that out, and a lot of the things we can get as new old stock out of Europe. I think you can build an entire car if you wanted
Wow.
to between those two sources.
Well, that's good to be able to
So-
have that option.
Yeah.
If anything did happen.
Yeah, and I'm proud to say this. Everything on this car works. The windows, that was a big deal. Not many of those electric windows work on the existing cars today. So those windows worked. I've got the cassette player and the radio. It works. In fact, I went and bought a couple cassettes just to have
be
them
able to play.
to play them. We were fortunate a guy here in town is really good at rebuilding old radios and tape players. So yeah, everything is available, and with time we picked up where to go to get certain things done. And so yeah, it works out pretty good.
And I noticed you used the word with time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you find you catch yourself?
Yeah.
It's just really cool to see something like this up close. I've never really been up close on one of these until I saw you the day on that car show, to be able to look inside one, and I was drawn to it. I kept coming back, and it was like, oh wow, this is cool. Do you have to do anything after you sand it to keep it polished, or keep...
It's a tough, I say it's tough. It's time consuming to stay on top of it. I've got kind of a bad back, so to do all the detail work, thank God we've got a lift
Oh, yeah.
in our garage so we can pick it up. But it's a constant job to keep polish on it and to keep it
So you got to
looking
keep
good.
it waxed and all
It's
that?
just a
to keep
polish.
just a
Just
polish?
a polish, yeah. So
Okay.
we'll go to a car show, and we get ready for a car show. We'll take a couple hours and go over it. And then I'll come home and I'll typically wipe it down. I can see a couple spots just visiting with you that I missed from last weekend.
Right.
And then we'll put it away until we go out again. So,
Well,
like I
bet
said, we
that-
don't drive it much, so it doesn't get really dirty. And I'm pretty careful not to go out on a rainy day. And
Oh yeah, you
know,
don't want spots all over
So-
it or the rust to hit it.
Yeah.
Or really, do they rust?
there's
That
some
metal.
parts on the undercarriage
Yeah.
that might rust. But the stainless, the 300 series stainless, which is rust, it's got a lot of chrome in it, not prone to rust, but it will corrode, with time.
I didn't understand what stainless was for many years, and my dad told me that it's a mixture of steel with chrome.
Chrome and nickel.
Chrome and nickel, the things they come up with to keep the good fight against the corrosion.
Yeah.
Let's walk over here.
Okay?
I kind of want to see is this the original size of tires
It
that
is.
came with it?
Yes.
A
Yeah.
little bit bigger on the back, a little
That's correct.
smaller on the front. It fits really well on there.
Yeah.
And the original wheels, I'm assuming, that came with it.
Yeah.
Did you have to restore those at all?
They were corroded, but there was some pretty good products out there where we could spray it, go over with a Scotch-Brite and a brush, and they weren't too difficult to clean up.
I would be surprised because it looks like, you know, with the tight
it's hard to get in there.
spaces that it would be
It's
difficult to get stuff.
Well, it's like
be
a
a job.
toothbrush in between each one. So,
Right.
Yeah. I do that about once a year. So you get the brake dust in
Just
there.
keep them clean a little bit.
So right after we bought it, one of the things I did was I replaced all the struts on it. That was a pretty big job. In fact, I did those at home. If I had to do that again, I would probably have that done by a third party.
It's pretty tight in there
Somebody
being
that
a
does that,
mid-engine.
but yeah, it was kind of a tough job.
Is this considered a mid-engine or a rear engine?
I think it's a rear engine.
It's a rear?
Yeah.
When you guys knew that family had this, did you know exactly where it was sitting, or did you have to go search for it?
We had a pretty
amongst
good
all those
idea.
cars?
Yeah. Believe it or not, he actually had two of them.
Two?
He bought this one, and it was a pristine shape, and he parked it,
Mm-hmm.
and he bought one that had hit a deer.
Oh.
And I don't know what he was going to do with it.
He was going to part it out and sell the part
Uh-huh.
and use the money to restore
this.
one.
Good plan.
Yeah.
Always have two of something that's extraordinary like
Right.
this. Pretty cool. So what size engine came out these?
So it's a 2.85 liter, and it was designed by three companies, Peugeot, Renault, and Volvo. And I believe Volvo was the final manufacturer of the engine. So it's a 130 horse, 2.85 liter, what's that, 177 cubic inch. For a small car, it only weighs 2,600 pounds. For a small car, that B6 will push it down the road pretty good.
Oh, I bet it does.
But I've had it above 88.
Oh,
I've
yeah,
had it
I'm
above
sure
88
you
one
had to
time.
at least reach 88.
One time, and it didn't handle well. I wasn't comfortable going that fast with it. So
Well, you do remember from the movie when it hit that,
Yeah.
it probably didn't handle well either.
Yeah,
And it just
yeah.
disappeared. So
yeah, that's
probably
good.
best you back off. Oh
So-
man, yeah, this is really neat. So it looks like it's rear facing.
With the radiator actually in the front of the car.
Oh wow. Oh, where is it?
It's in the front, and
In the
it actually
front?
has a fan that turns on to cool the engine.
Wow, that's kind of neat to have it go that far.
Yeah.
I guess you do
So
have
here's
to
our
get the
cooling.
air.
Here's a cooling, and that goes through the radiator, which is in the front.
Interesting.
yeah.
You have a light. Really neat to see how they designed everything. You can jump it from back here if you need to.
Yes. Yeah, very specific instructions on that. It's almost a reverse polarity of what you would normally do.
Uh-huh.
So you get the negative ground there that you
Huh.
jump onto.
Fuses, relay, and it has air. You have to have air.
Oh yes. Yeah, we got a brand new air conditioning compressor in it.
Mm-hmm. Something I think would be kind of nice, changing your belts. Other types of cars, you got to really lean over that
Yeah.
front end. This is right here.
It's easy to
It's
get
just
to.
like easy to get to, and
Yeah.
mufflers right there.
So we recently replaced the radiator. That was another fairly significant expense.
Uh-huh.
And then I went ahead and replaced the thermostat when we did that. And that one was a kind of a trick
Oh, it's
to
down in
get
there.
to. But yeah,
Did you have to pull any of this off, or
No,
did you just finagle in?
finagled in. So
Kind of neat to see this extra cover
Yeah.
with the vents, the louvers in it, so it is grabbing air or letting the heat dissipate.
Yep.
These side windows are actually part of the compartment here because the back window is actually
yeah,
separate.
yeah,
Okay.
almost looks like it's in the back seat. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't realize that's how that was made. That's pretty neat to see. And you can see your flux capacitor from here. That's pretty neat. Well, should we take a ride?
You bet.
All right.
Just pull her down like that.
Oh, that's cool. Something I noticed right away in this is that this is how I like to sit in my cars, where you lean back a little bit
Yeah.
and your legs are stretched out. This is cool.
All right. Here.
So these windows roll down? Just
Yes.
the small part?
Right here's the control.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not very many of the DeLoreans out there right now where those work.
Uh-huh.
They kind of, at least the guys that I've talked to, it seemed like it's one of the first things that went out.
I wonder if humidity or something like that,
Could be.
depending on what state they might be in. So this is a 5-speed or
5-speed.
5-speed.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't really have 6 speeds back then.
And it goes about 2,500 RPM at 70 miles an hour at 5th speed. So
Oh, that's pretty good.
nice. Yeah, it got a little bit of spunk.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can feel it kind of suck you back, and it actually rides really smooth and
Oh,
has a little bit of a. You know, the transmission felt like it shifted real nice.
yeah. I've got some noise back there that I can't quite figure out. I think
Uh-huh.
it may be there's a kind of a platform that the flux capacitor sits on that kind of moves around.
Oh,
Probably
yeah,
need
that
to
makes
bolt it down or
sense.
something. But
I like how this dash kind of sits away from you.
yeah,
And honestly, you know, looking forward, you don't even see the hood. I thought maybe, you know, I was curious if there'd be an issue with reflection of the sun hitting it, maybe coming in, but it looks like the engineers and designers maybe took that into thought.
okay.
Does okay on bricks.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see the different designs they came out with back then. Just the steering wheel and, you know, the dashboard, the instrument panel. I mean, it just looks like 80s.
Yeah, in a lot of respects, I think DeLorean was a little bit ahead of his time. Of course, I think he proved that when he was at GM.
Right.
Some of the cars and designs he came up with were pretty advanced.
I wonder which vehicles at GM that he was responsible for designing. Do you know?
Oh, the GTO.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
that started,
that's amazing.
Yeah, that started out as
I
a
would have
Le Mans,
never known.
And he had it beefed up, and
I would have never known.
yeah,
So now you can kind of see, yeah, that's kind of cool to know. Because that's a very sought after vehicle now, right?
oh yes, collector.
I just can't get over how smooth the ride is on this. And these seats really hug the lumbar support, kind of on the sides of your back.
Yes, and
You fit
I
perfectly in
really
there.
need that. I have a terrible back. And
Uh-huh.
I told Mary the day I can't get in and out of this, that's probably when we need to sell it. So
You make sure you're getting out of it,
Yeah,
in and
yeah.
out of it, right?
I think we can get through here.
Yeah. So this is all leather.
Yes.
So this is, so when you say you found this, it was sealed so tight When you opened the doors, it smelled like a brand new car.
It still smelled new. It was amazing. It's amazing that after all this car had been through, that it still smelled that way.
I mean, when you look at it, it looks pristine. I mean, it looks brand new, which it probably is brand new from 81. How many miles?
We just came up to 19,000.
Wow.
So yeah,
this is very low miles.
So I think when we bought it, it had a little over 17 on it, and that's not very many miles.
No.
I drove it to Hutchinson last weekend, and that was the furthest I'd ever driven it. So
did it ride well on the highway?
55 miles. Yeah, and Hutchinson. I mean, 96 is pretty nice right now.
Right.
It just repaved it.
So tell me about this car show you went to yesterday and what kind of award you got.
They only had one award, and it was a People's Choice Award. So it was kind of a cool to win that.
Right. So that means that this car really resonates with people's childhoods, their history, growing up with the icon this car is. Plus, you don't see these every day on the streets at all.
So last year I went out to the air base, and they had several categories of awards for that car show. And they had one called the Exotic. It was the only one that just fit in.
Right.
But its competitor was a Lamborghini, and we actually won that.
Did you? Oh, that's cool.
The guy in the Lamborghini wasn't very happy.
Oh, I bet he wasn't. But hey, this is a DeLorean.
Yeah.
And hey, you know, it kind of matches the metals on an airplane if they don't paint them. It's not aluminum, stainless, but still. Oh, that's nice. I bet you guys do get the looks taking this out to dinner and.
Well, and I've got some pretty cool lights on it. We can't see them so much in the daylight, but I've got some pretty cool lights underneath it. When I turn those on, and the flux capacitor, it's just like a magnet. I mean,
oh yeah.
We take it out to dinner, and people leave the restaurant and come out to look at the car.
Well, thank you, Bob.
Oh, you're
I
welcome.
appreciate you sharing this piece of artwork and icon that it is, and hope you enjoy it for many, many years and can get in and out of it and continue taking it to shows, and we'll probably see you around.
All right.
Appreciate it.
All right.
And you just pull the little
Right here.
that up.
Yep. Yeah, pop up there for
Oh,
you.
that is so awesome. I want to thank Bob and Mary for showing off this beautiful DeLorean. So if you haven't done so yet, click that subscribe button below, and we'll see you next time on Dude with an Autotude.